up your YouTube, search for Stukeley Meadows, watch on your big screen.
Or another device if you're at home.
Get yourself comfy, this could take a while. What a happy scene. Something new every day for your long-term memory. This is so exciting, it is nearly time for a Stukeley assembly.
Hello there everyone, and welcome to today's curriculum assembly. You know what I'm going to say, so here we go. For each other we, every day we, to improve we, and together we will. And our everyday focuses are, and our Stukeley motto is, and our Stukeley curriculum is, and of course those 4 words. Excellent. So here we are, another curriculum assembly, and guess what? Yes, there is an expert coming your way. Last week, if you remember, I asked all of you to pause and have a think about what was your favourite area or your best area of the curriculum, the kind of subject area where you feel that you do the best and maybe you enjoy the most, and why. Well, quite a lot of classes brought in their results, so the things that you wrote down, and they're on my desk in the assistant head's office. But not all of them. So if you haven't yet given those to me, or maybe you didn't quite have time to even have a go at it, there is still time, because I've not had a proper look through. Next week, I'm hoping by next week I'll be able to tell you what the outcomes were. But I will tell you that the first one that I looked at, the one that was on the top of the pile, the person said that they really enjoyed history the most, but I didn't actually get a chance to read why. So I'm really looking forward to looking through all of those, genuinely. So next week, I will tell you what I discovered from looking through all of those pieces of paper. If you haven't done it, there's still time. So what about this week then? Well, we do have an expert, and today's expert is an expert in the tech industry. Okay, so technology. And as I was kind of thinking about that, I was thinking about a particular kind of group of subjects that form part of our school curriculum and most school curriculums, and that group of subjects is called STEM. I wonder if any of you have ever heard of that. And I'm not talking about, you know, the green bit on a plant. I'm talking about a group of subjects that are grouped together and known as STEM. Have you ever heard of it? So you can pause and talk about that if that's the right thing for you to do. But STEM, what is it? Well, STEM stands for science, technology, engineering and mathematics. So those 4 subjects are grouped together. And there are some schools whose kind of curriculum is completely created around those 4 areas of learning. And they do the other stuff too, but really their main focus is on science, technology, engineering and mathematics. And obviously those subjects form part of our curriculum too. So I was thinking around, obviously science we do, maths we do design and technology, don't we? Where we're kind of considering products that perhaps could be made and then how to make them, so the technology part. We also do about coding, so the computer aspect of technology comes into it too. So it is part of our curriculum. But the main kind of umbrella headings, that means the overall heading, is called STEM. So I just thought I'd leave that with you today, because I wonder what you kind of think of as those STEM subjects, and whether those STEM headings, science, technology, engineering and mathematics, are something that interests you. Well, it certainly is something that interests our expert today. So as I was thinking also about technology, and about the fact that our expert's going to talk a lot about the tech industry, it also made me think about, well, I wonder, as well as whether or not you've heard of STEM and that aspect of the curriculum before, whether or not you know any famous tech names. Now, there are quite a lot of famous names that we would consider to be part of the technology industry, some big names. So I'm going to give you one, and maybe that will set the ball rolling. I wonder if anybody has ever heard of Bill Gates. So Bill Gates is certainly one of the most influential people that there have been in the technology industry. I looked it up, top 20. So perhaps pause me now, everyone, and have a little think. I wonder which class can think of the most names or big names that we associate with the tech industry. So pause me now, have a quick chat. So back in the room, everybody, I wonder who you came up with. Well, I'm not actually going to tell you the names that I got, or maybe I will. Okay, so I got James Dyson, engineering, kind of inventing stuff, you know, the Hoover. I've got one at home. I shouldn't call it a Hoover, it's a vacuum cleaner. Bill Gates, Microsoft. I was thinking of Elon Musk, you know, the Tesla guy and the kind of space rocket. Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook. I was thinking of Jack Dorsey for Twitter, Steve Jobs for Apple, Meredith Whittaker, you might have heard of her. There's not that many women's names on there, I must say, but there are some. So those are some of the big names we associate with the tech industry. So there is room for lots more, everybody. So this could be your moment as you plan your future in the tech world. There are some big names out there. So today's expert, also in the technological industry, maybe not a famous name that you've heard of, but has got some really interesting stuff to tell us all about. So over to you, today's expert.
Hi everybody, great to meet you. My name is Phil Smith, and despite my Scottish accent, I actually live in England, have done for a long time. And I live near Stratford-upon-Avon with my wife Steph, and I have 4 children. And the 4 children don't live with me anymore, they've all moved out. In fact, I've actually got 5 grandchildren now. So my children are spread around the world, 2 in the UK, 1 in Canada, 1 in Austria. But 5 grandchildren who are all, 4 of whom are here and 1's in Austria. So I've been here for some time, but I've worked in technology companies all my life. So what was I like as a child? Well, at school, I did like technology. I liked engineering. I liked all the sorts of things that I've ended up doing myself. But I think I was pretty normal. You know, some subjects I was not too bad at, some subjects I wasn't great at. I was pretty good at maths and science generally, was pretty terrible at art, pretty good at music, but so a bit of a variety. And I think, like all of you, I'm sure you've got things you're really great at and things you love, and then things that you think, well, maybe I'm not so keen on that. And that's fine, because actually it turns out that the thing I want to talk to you about needs people who have got all those kind of capabilities. So as a child, you know, I enjoyed school. I went to school in Scotland. I eventually finished up quite early, because in Scotland you do your exams a little bit earlier than you do in England. So I actually did my what we call O-levels, GCSE equivalents, in my 4th year. I think that's 7, 8, 9, 10, year 10. And I did my higher, which is slightly below A-level, in my 5th year, and I was just 16 then, and I actually left school at that point because I had enough qualifications to go to university. Started university when I was about 17, just turned 17 actually, and then carried on and did a degree in microbiology. So actually nothing to do with what I'm actually ended up doing in my life now, but a really interesting subject, you know. Microbiology, of course, everything to do with viruses, bacteria, etc., etc. So great in the brewing industry, in the food industry, in the water industry, as well as, of course, in research and other kind of areas. But I decided when I was at university I didn't want to do that. I quite liked the idea of computing, which is a bit of an emerging thing, and that's what I ended up doing. So what's my area of expertise and what do I want to talk to you about today? Well, actually, I come from a bit of an engineering technology background, but I actually want to talk to you about working in the technology industry, because I think we all have a particular perception about what that means. Some of us think it's about being someone who sits in a dark room and writes computer code. Some of us might think it's about engineers who sit there and solder things together. Some of us might think it's about people who work in, boiler suits and whatnot, doing engineering type things. But actually, the technology industry is much, much greater than that. And I love being part of the technology industry, and I'm sure many of you would love it too, because it requires everything from, of course, people who write code and build machines and build computers and build, autonomous cars and build electric vehicles and so on. You need people to do that, but you also need lots of other people as well. And you have people who are doing jobs in marketing, jobs in sales, people are doing jobs in support, talking to customers. You get people who are building technology and doing exciting things. But the great thing about technology is it's changing everything. You know that. I guess you're growing up with technology right in the palm of your hands, like in your smartphone. But actually, there's an incredible amount that's being done everywhere. We see the change of climate, the challenge of climate change. We're going to have to really use technology to address that in a huge way. Medicine and the way it evolves have just come through we're coming through a COVID crisis. Huge amounts to be done with technology and the way we use genetics and genes and so on. And of course, massive technologies around the globe and the way that we work together, the way that we operate as countries together is all to do with technology. And I've had lots of examples when we've had young people come and visit me, because I was chief executive of a big technology company, and they came thinking they were just going to be talking about bits and bytes and coding and so on, and went away after a few days absolutely loving it, because there were so many exciting jobs and roles they could do in technology. So being an expert in technology doesn't mean you're doing all the detailed stuff. It means you're actually getting involved in changing the world, putting more nurses on the ward by taking away all the tough stuff they have to do, putting more teachers in front of pupils because it helps to simplify the life of teaching, or maybe allows teachers to reach much more widely than they could in the past, just in the way that this is doing now. So what do I like most about the role? I think I like the variety of the role. I think the fact that technology has such a great reach and uses so many of your skills. So if you're artistic, then of course technology needs you. How do you think all the the applications and tools that you use, from Facebook to TikTok to to Instagram and so on, are all with people who have got a smart artistic mood to them. What about people who are very analytical? Of course, there are people with requirements in technology for that, but there's also a lot of people who have to think about how you work with human beings. What's the issues with what makes people want to use technology or not technology? How can we make it more friendly and so on? We're going to need everybody from all walks of life to get involved in the technology industry in the future. The biggest challenge in the role? Well, I think the biggest challenge is probably making people understand that there's a lot more to technology than simply the technology itself. And I think as I ran a very large technology company called Cisco in the UK and Ireland, and I now chair a number of companies, including a company that makes semiconductors or makes the components for semiconductors, is really explaining to people that it's so important that we engage with technology, understand it, and make sure it's accessible to everyone, rather than simply something that it's for an elite group of people. So the big challenges are really making sure we all understand the role we have to play and can play with technology as it goes forward. And you'll have heard of all those advanced technology like advanced genetics, quantum technology, artificial intelligence. Those are all really exciting, but it's important that we do them well, and it requires people who really want to make those technologies work for us as human beings. So what would I tell someone who wants to become an expert or who wants to get involved in the technology industry? I'd say, definitely do it. I mean, it's a great industry to be involved in. I mean, it's not always an industry that's got lots of opportunities, but it's a great career. It's well paid generally. The richest people in the world come from the technology industry. but obviously there's huge numbers of jobs in the technology industry. In fact, the prediction is that 90% of jobs in the future will require some kind of digital technology understanding. That's a great opportunity for you. So if you're thinking about what you're going to do in the future, definitely think a little bit more about the technology industry and try to understand what it really could mean to you. Thank you very much.
Well, there we have it, everybody. Today's expert talking all about the tech industry. Actually, one of the things that he talked about was kind of biomedical industry and pharmaceuticals and that kind of thing. I hadn't even thought of that really. I was kind of thinking about where down making apps and computers and all of those kind of things. So it's a really varied field, isn't it? And I think in my mind, I'd probably not realised quite how varied that tech industry kind of umbrella heading was and what there could be within that. So I hope that there were some interesting things in there for you. I hope that got you thinking. So those of you that really do enjoy those STEM subjects in school, it might have given you that inspiration to keep going, and who knows what the future might hold. So there we go, everybody. Another expert assembly finished, and we go into this week. I hope it's a good one, everyone. Remember what is so important. Work hard, be kind, as always, and I will see you next time.
Another superb curriculum assembly. Thank you, Mrs. Stevens. Thank you to our expert. Now let's talk about birthdays. Hey, 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 it's time to say we've got a Stukeley birthday. Hey, 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 it's time to say we've got a Stukeley birthday. Oh, come on! I haven't got the book, but I do know it's Happy Birthday Damla in Year 5. Hope you've had a great day so far, Damla. Lots more fun to come with family and friends. You've only got one more Stukeley birthday left, Damla. Let's make the most of the rest of them. Okay, let's finish off with EDK. And we are learning to remember things worth remembering, learning to remember things worth remembering, learning to remember things worth remembering, everyday knowledge for you. And we are learning to remember things worth remembering, learning to remember things worth remembering, learning to remember things worth remembering, everyday knowledge for you. Whoa, I'm afraid, everyone, I'm very short of time today. This is going to be a very short EDK. In a moment, you're going to pause the video. Yes, you are. When you pause the video, the adult in your classroom, your teacher, is going to say to everyone in the classroom, have you got a question for everyday knowledge? You're all going to think of a question. You might think of, when was the Great Fire of London? What is the chemical symbol for phosphorus? Who composed Dance of the Nights? What's the capital city of Germany? How many millimetres in a centimetre? Anyway, I want you all to think of an everyday knowledge question. We've done this before. Think of one. Then your adult will say, give us a question, and then across your classroom, across your room, one of you will ask a question, and you'll all try and answer it. You're doing your own everyday knowledge. Very short of time. I know it seems like a bit of a cop-out, but you can make this fun, right? Yes, you can. Enjoy, everyone. See you next time, and it will just be a little bit more like normal.